Polomi Saha, I want to bring you in now. A shot in the arm for Modi government after what the IMF has said about the economy projection, and this, when it comes just ahead of the session, is likely to give at least a slight boost, because I'm sure they're preparing for the big opposition attack today.
Absolutely. This is definitely a boost for the government. The news which is coming in from the IMF, the projection which has been made, India will continue to be the fastest growing large economy. In 2023 and 2024, the projection at 6.1% for 2023 for India, at a time that, the global economy and its growth rate has slowed down, but it may be at a turning point. They're hoping that in 2024, the forecast at least has been for a sort of a jump for the world economy, but India continues to be the fastest growing large economy. So a shot in the arm for the government ahead of that economic survey, as Rahul was saying, which will be tabled by the finance minister today, which is going to be extremely crucial. And of course, the presentation of the union budget, the full budget, general budget by the government, the last one before, of course, the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. So they've got their eye on the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, of course, as they present this budget. Fiscal prudence will be one of the important key factors that will be sort of weighing down on this budget, but also the fact that, they have to make a political point as well with this budget, because, like I said, a very crucial budget which is coming in before the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. So all eyes on that budget, which Nirmala Sitharaman will be presenting tomorrow. But again, the crucial part, of course, will be President Droupadi Murmu's first address to the joint sitting of both houses of Parliament today at 11 a.m. So again,
and the opposition attack too, we'll discuss that too, Polomi, because the opposition this time is preparing a long list. Let's bring in Aishwarya Paliwal. Aishwarya closely tracks the Finance Ministry. Aishwarya, are there any surprises, any new developments that we're likely to have mentioned in this budget? Because it's crucial for the government, it's crucial for the public this year as well, because with the inflation on one hand, recession on another expected, this budget is going to have its own share of crucial aspects, isn't it?
Well, Pooja, definitely. And one of the things that the government will have to look at is to make sure that India does not fall in the bad spot. The IMF obviously is talking about the fact that our country, India, will do really well, but we are seeing what's happening in Europe and US, and I believe that's what Nirmala Sitharaman today will also speak upon. So we will have to make sure that our policies shield Indians, and we are on the growth path. That is something that the government will speak about. Also, when the economic survey, when that will be tabled, then the finance minister will tell the parliamentarians what the government has done over the past few years, how it has helped the economy, and what will take place in the coming years. That roadmap will also be laid ahead. Let me tell you, the Prime Minister has been very keenly watching all these things, and he has given his inputs in the budget, also making sure that the economy needs to be robust, and they will also come up with policies that will help making sure that our economy is on track and we are growing. All these things, especially given the fact what's happening in the US and in the Europe, the way we are seeing the global economy going down, all those things will also be taken care of in this budget.
I request Aishwarya Polomi and Rahul Srivastava to stay on with me, because apart from, of course, what the budget will be, it's going to be a stormy session too. Opposition is ready with the firecrackers. Aam Aadmi Party and the BRS parties are first to boycott President Droupadi Murmu's address. They say this is a protest against NDA government's failure. The Aam Aadmi Party says they're also accusing the president and the address that's going to be made, that these are false promises in the speech by the government. Aam Aadmi Party has added that the Modi government has failed on all fronts, and therefore we will be objecting to it. This, remember, while the Congress members of Parliament, most of them, including Mallikarjun Kharge, are not likely to be a part of today's proceedings because they are in Kashmir, and due to inclement weather, their flights may not reach in time. But Sonia Gandhi will be attending this address. This is going to be turbulent, and how? Let's take it to our colleagues as well on the ground. Rahul Srivastava, Polomi Saha and Aishwarya Paliwal continue to be with us. Rahul, let's talk about the opposition and the government strategy here. Do you think the opposition this time has enough arsenal with them to target the Modi government over the budget session?
See, if one looks at the meeting which was held, all-party meeting ahead of the session, headed by Mr. Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, there is one very clear emerging element that, like the past few sessions, there is going to be very little respite from din and disruption, and I think disagreement. While the government has certain priorities as far as this session is concerned, there are 30-odd bills, out of which 4 are critical. Those are the financial bills related to the budgets, which are very important for the government to pass. But I think the President's address is a big element for the government. That's one big priority. The opposition, yes, it wants to protest. It wants to make a visible protest, because if one disagrees with the President's address, which is largely dictated by the government, it is the intent of the government, it can always vote against it and create amendments to it. But the fact is that the opposition wants to display dissent against the government. I think on issues like the Adani-Hindenburg row, the demand for caste census, which has been joined by parties like YSRCP, RJD, JDU and others, demand for women reservation. I think that's one thing that the opposition wants to push the government on. The governor's conduct in states like Telangana and Tamil Nadu will be raised by the BRS and the DMK. So what one can say, that there is definitely a certain amount of firepower which the opposition has stored for the government. But the fact is, what we have seen is that the government, on the other hand, instead of a reach out, there is such a freeze which has come in, that despite the din and demands, usually the bills are passed and the legislations virtually do not go through any kind of scrutiny. And I think this session also is not going to be any different, though the finance bill definitely is something that the Parliament will have to pass. We'll have to see that, unlike the last few times when there was not very long debate, will there be a proper debate on crucial elements like the finance bill and others.